Hey peeps, it's a new day, and with that new day comes a new route. Welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon Evermore. So in the last episode, we have finally finished up with Karma's route. And this time, we are going to go through with the happily ever after of the Doctor with the Heart of Gold, Chevalier du Mont, who basically underwent the Rumpelstiltskin Curse. And here joining me, of course, is the wonderful Tobias the Tantalus.
Feels like it's been a little bit since I've been on here. Like things just kept coming up. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Things did keep coming up. I mean, it's like between beach vacations and well, friendship gatherings and well, the world all of a sudden just like started to open up again and blueberry picking, which by the way, support local businesses. Thanks, Millburn Orchards. But yeah, just a lot has been happening on Saturdays, so I apologize for not having streams as frequently as I've been wanting to. Also, this week was a little bit complicated because I also had wisdom tooth surgery on Monday, so I was still kind of recovering from that, but I'm much better now. So I feel super up for a new story. So, who's up for some happily ever after happily ever after? Excellent. All right. So, we've got our new route here. Good thing it's come to us wait until midnight, although we're probably not going to go that far. Realistically.
I don't know. I feel like half the time the choices you make after midnight are the bad ones. So.
True.
I feel like most nights you should try to be in bed by midnight. But that's just me, you know.
Yeah, but of course, because I'm a night owl, I fail in that duty way too often. I can't help it.
I also have a job I have to be up for by like 6, so I don't get much choice in that regard.
Yeah, then again, recently, because my job has now started, like, new student orientation, I have, like, a lot of the shifts I've been assigned are at 7 a.m., even though I told my supervisor several times, I'm not a morning person, and yet I still get the morning shifts anyway. Oh, man. But, yeah, let's go ahead and transport ourselves into the realm of this wonderful story that we have pretty much all heard several times, but it never hurts to hear again. So, once upon a time in a land far, far away, there lived a princess. She was known as the Ice Princess, named for her frigid heart and unyielding coldness toward others. The princess shunned all who sought to help her. She was scared to go out into the world, so she locked herself up in her palace. Then one day, the Ice Princess became the victim of the infamous fairy tale curse and was forced to go from riches to rags. As the princess struggled to come to terms with her new life, she met a very special man. The two endured much strife, helping each other overcome various ordeals. In the end, they emerged victorious. The special man thawed the princess's ice-cold heart and dried her dampened spirits. The two vowed to love each other for the rest of time. They lived happily ever after. But what happens after happily ever after? And this time, once again, we are going with Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Lucette Riala Britain. And today, we are going to go through the route of the very charming and illustrious and talented, because he is a doctor, Chevalier du Mont, the one who endured the fairy tale curse about Rumpelstiltskin. There we go. Chapter 1, The Lucis Bearer. Oh, we got a mysterious voice in the first part.
Are there context clues? I have an idea who it is, but...
Who could it be? Lucette. A voice reaches out to me from the depths of my mind, soft and gentle. Though I've not heard it in years. Recognize it immediately. Mother? My dearest heart. Mother! I rush toward her, but Mother steps away from me before I can touch her. I came to see how the traitor was doing, but it seems you're still just as incompetent as when I left you. Mother, A strand of electricity snakes up my arm, breaking apart the rest of my words. I collapse to my knees with a cry of pain. What a disappointment you are, Lucette. Had you revived me, you would not be so weak. Angel would not be so weak. You're a pathetic ruler, daughter. Mother. And you are a failure as a witch. The sparks return the moment the words leave her mouth. This time, the electricity envelops my whole body, making the world shimmer dangerously. Tears gather in my eyes. Mother, please. I'm trying my best. You will fail, dearest heart, because you do not know what it means to be a witch. We feed off negativity and chaos. Love serves us no power. You will see that in time. And when that happens, my love, a sardonic smile touches her lips as she fades away. Remember that I will not be there for you. I wake with my heart pounding erratically in my ears. Mother? I press a hand to my forehead and squeeze my eyes shut. A tendril of electricity snaps across my fingers, and I'm only able to will it away after calming my heart. When I open my eyes, it's not darkness I see, but my own room. It was just a dream. I quiet my breathing as I glance around. Everything is exactly as it always is, except for one thing. My gaze snags on a figure silhouetted in moonlight. He's hunched over a table, paper scattered around him. Chev? I stand and I make my way over to him. Chevalier has fallen asleep on my table with an arm folded beneath his head. At least this time he remembered to take off his glasses. Okay, to any glasses users in the audience, like, how many people slept with their glasses on? Because, I mean, I haven't used glasses that frequently in my studies, but it's probably happened to me at least twice. Possibly more, that I don't remember. Hey Toby, is something wrong with your sound, by the way? I'm not able to hear you.
No, I just haven't been saying anything this whole time.
Oh, yeah, I know. There's not much going on in the first part.
You know, it's all narration. I felt like you should do that uninterrupted.
Fair enough. The last time Chevalier fell asleep writing letters, he crushed his glasses. I noticed he's been drifting off more frequently at this desk ever since he moved into the palace. It's only been a few weeks since he accepted. Wow. It's only been a few weeks since he accepted my father's invitation to become the palace's official physician, but he's already so stressed. I reach out to touch his shoulder, but then pause. As much as I would like to have him come to bed, he might not be able to fall back asleep once I wake him. Kind of reminds me of my own dad, too, come to think of it. Because sometimes he gets, like... I mean, he does urgent care sometimes, and after a long day, he just relaxes on the couch and sleeps. And I'm thinking, like, on the one hand, he needs to get to, like, a proper mattress. And on the other hand, He's sleeping so well, I don't know if waking him up would actually make things worse. So it's all too familiar. I'm surprised to laugh. Chevalier is not even supposed to be in my room this late, but he really does accidentally drift off here. Ah, first decision of the day. It's so, at least something innocuous for once.
I feel like we should let him sleep.
Yeah.
You know, finish his whole REM cycle and all that. It's better for you.
Yeah. Yeah, on the other hand, like, desk sleeping is gonna mess with your neck. I don't know. Well, I mean, we could redo these decisions later, so let's just let him sleep and see what happens. I know, Chevalier. He has a tendency to worry. If I wake him, he'll be unable to fall asleep again. I would rather he rest. He needs it. I pull my hand away and make my way back to my bed. I pause briefly to glance at the gardens and the city beyond them. The moonlight settles on Angiel like a blanket, making all of the buildings glimmer faintly, like stars. Somewhere in the sprawling town is the Marchen, where Delora and Cinna sleep under one roof. Oh yeah, I forgot, I think Parfait died in this ending too, come to think of it. I'll have to watch it again. But yeah, the reason why there was all that lightning imagery, I think, is because I think this is like one of the two endings that Lucette had to take out her mother. And I think this is like one of the few that she had to do it more directly. Cinna is Parfait's only cousin and the only possible heir to the Lucis. Apparently Parfait was keeping his identity secret because she did not want to place the burden of bearer on him at such a young age. None of us knew of his existence until he showed up at the Marchen's doorstep one day, insisted that he be allowed to stay so he could take over Parfait's duties. Ever since Cinna moved to Angiel, I've been having more nightmares of Mother. I wonder if this has anything to do with the imbalance between the Tenebrarum and the Lucis? My closest with the Tenebrarum, which is the crystalline that balances the darkness of this kingdom, makes me more prone to nightmares. They have decreased over the years, thankfully, but for some reason this week has been difficult. I sigh as I fall back on my bed, my fingers moving to the bridge of my nose as I try to brush aside the nightmare. Maybe I should go for a walk. I leave the room quietly so as not to disturb Chevalier. I'm only out long enough to clear my mind. When I return, I'm finally able to fall asleep. The first thing I notice when I wake up in the morning is Chevalier, who is seated at my desk sealing envelopes. I rub my bleary eyes as I slip up my... Whoa, gosh, whoa! Woo! One more time. I rub my bleary... Why am I struggling to say bleary? Oh my gosh. Tongue twister. Okay. I rub my bleary eyes as I sit up in bed and yawn. Chevalier turns with a smile. Alright.
Good morning, my sweet princess.
I notice that his eyes are glimmering. He looks more lively than I've seen him in many, many days. Good morning. You look well rested.
Oh, but Ham, your table is very comfy, Lucette.
Well, then again, I mean, there are times where, like, you have to sleep on a table, and if it's, like, enough surface area, it's great. Especially if it's, like, the right height, too.
At least it's like a princess's chair.
That is true. That is true. Like, the probability of, like, a royal having a comfy chair is pretty high. Versus library desks. Nah. This bed is a lot more comfortable, you know.
A valid point. I certainly prefer waking to the sight of your beautiful eyes, bright as the most precious gold.
If that is the case, you should make a greater effort to pass out on the bed.
But, I'm not even supposed to fall asleep in your room, am I?
And yet you do so anyway. If you insist on staying, you ought to at least sleep on the bed. Father ought to have reprimanded me by now. The fact that he is not means he obviously does not care that much about Chevalier being in here.
Then I will try my best for you, sweet princess.
He leans back in his chair, arms crossed.
Hope you don't mind me saying, but you seem a little groggy this morning?
As always, he is able to read me so easily. A nightmare kept me up last night.
Nightmare? You said you should have woken me.
It was just a nightmare, Chev. I did not want to disturb you for such a small thing.
Your consideration warmed my heart. But still, was this another Tenebrarum nightmare?
I don't think so. It is hard to say. It seemed more vivid than the usual nightmares. I spent the next 10 minutes detailing the nightmare to Chevalier. Even now, Mother's words are clear in my mind. I could not forget them even if I wanted to. Chevalier looks thoughtful.
The dreams you remember are usually the ones fueled by the Tenebrarum. Perhaps this is somehow related to Cinna. The dreams have been worse since you came to Angiel, yes?
Well, I mean, also considering Parfait has a lot of personal history with Hildur, too, that could also influence it. Like, that's my guess, anyway. I nod. I do not know how it'd be related to the Tenebrarum, but...
We can ask him today when we see him at the Marchen. Oh, and Lucette.
He plops himself down on the bed, warps an arm around my waist, and I think it's wraps. Typo.
Just like a portal, just a
Flops himself down on the bed, wraps an arm around my waist, and presses a kiss to my forehead.
I hope you didn't take your mother's words to heart. From what you tell me, the mother you knew loved you in her own way. I don't think she would have ever wanted you to see you suffer.
And this is why we seriously need to get a prequel. Like, before all this went down, I would totally love to see the history of Hildur, Parfait, and Delora. Like, seriously, we need one. I know.
Are you sure you're okay? Lisette, you...
Before he can say anything else, I press my lips to his mouth. The kiss is my only answer. And I pull away as Chevalier is grinning at me.
I'll take that as a yes.
That's not an answer, Lucette! He wiggles his eyebrows at me and I respond by jabbing him in the shoulder. Shall we get breakfast? When Chevalier first came to the palace and I invited him to breakfast, he was extremely nervous sharing a meal with my family. I had to tell him multiple times the king insisted he join us, not because he was to become a royal physician, but because he was becoming part of the family. Now the question always brings a smile to Chevalier's face. He flashes his... Of course! He's not the only one who's like kira kira fwa fwa kind of thing. He flashes that broad smile at me now as he offers me his arm. Because like, but his is extra because he's got the glasses going on.
Breakfast would be nice, yes.
We head for the dining hall. Oh gosh. The hall is lively as always this morning, though for an entirely different reason than usual.
You're telling me you ran after the messenger because you had an important letter to send to Veronica?
It was a very important invite for a luncheon. Normally it is Chevalier who sparks conversation on mornings like these. He and Father get along very well, and usually discuss recent affairs and politics. This morning, however, Father and Ophelia are at a meeting, and it's just Rod, Emily, and Chevalier and I here. Chevalier has been quietly listening to the conversation this whole time. He flips between being loquacious and quiet at a drop of a coin. Sometimes it feels as if he has two personalities, but I know the truth. He just likes to eavesdrop. I turn my attention away from my finished plate to look at Emily and Rod. They have been discussing letters the whole morning. Emmeline usually sends letters to Viorica and Anise. Chevalier, unsurprisingly, is the one that brought Emmeline and Anise together. Rod sends the majority of his letters to Brigantia. He has been considering going there to study foreign dance as part of some exchange program. Claude and his younger brother Lance were the ones to suggest the idea when they last visited Angiel. Claude was particularly interested, saying that because Angiel hosted Brigantian royalty so often, they would be honored to host us as well. Claude proposed to trade off. He insisted that if the Brigantian royal family took Rod in, he would force us to take his brother Lance off his hands. God. Sometimes I wonder about the relationship they have. Find out if from part 13 through 16 to see how it is, albeit with Lucette marrying Karma. To know the full dynamic.
The messenger from this morning is delivering letters over the border. Those letters were for Brigantia.
Emily looks at him startled. When he raises an eyebrow, she smiles sheepishly. Really? I have no idea. If she was sending anyone in Brigantia a letter, it's probably Lance. The two of them get along very well.
So the messenger would deliver messages to the post office before making the trip over the border.
He smiles at Emmeline.
Your letters are in good hands, Princess Emmeline.
Emmeline turns her grateful smile on Chevalier before pausing, curiosity lighting her eyes. What about your letters, Chevalier? He was up so late writing them that he fell asleep with the pen in his hand. I give him a pointed look. As usual. Chevalier smiles weakly.
Those ones were important, I swear.
You said that was every single letter! He clears his throat, his expression melting into something more somber.
I've been writing letters to the housing official to finalize a contract.
Oh? Right. His deal with Anise. He's in the process of giving her the deed to his old clinic. I hope it's not too complicated.
It's not. Just time-consuming.
Just make sure it doesn't stop you from sleeping. Chevalier laughs, eyes glittering with mirth.
As you command, my sweet princess.
Paperwork. I've had to go through that a few weeks ago. After breakfast, Chevalier and I head to the Marchen, where we are to meet with Anise and Cinna, respectively.
What a brilliant day. The sun is shining, the town is full of laughter, and I have...
My sweet Lucette here to accompany me.
Wrong. I was going to say, I have my lovely queen here to accompany me.
Oh, nice save! That's the same thing. Chevalier laughs.
I beg to differ. Queen is a far more regal title.
But I'm not even queen yet.
You're already one in spirit.
Oh, snap! He's saying all the right things. He's not wrong. I cannot help but my smile as I turn my attention to the scenery. The town square is bustling with activity when we arrive, despite the cold weather. Though it is sunny, a chill wind brushes my skin and rumples my dress. It's so cold. I didn't realize I'm huddled close to the Chevalier until he loops an arm around my waist and pulls me to his side. As always, I'm amazed at how comfortably I fit. And it feels really weird to read that, considering it's been super humid in the 90s today, and it's been raining on and off here, at least.
It's at times like these that I feel I should buy a new scarf.
He grins.
I could get you one too. Better yet, we could buy matching scarves.
Matching scarves! I would wear a paper bag over my head before matching with you. That was that.
You pull no punches. You're so radiant you can make anything a fashion statement, princess. Even a paper bag. It would be a shame not to gaze upon your beautiful features, though. You gotta watch out. Next thing you know, everyone's gonna be wearing paper bags.
Oh yeah, becomes a new fashion trend all over the kingdom. What's new in this issue of Vogue Angel edition? Paper bags. I mean, I kind of remember back in the day when paper bags used to be an avant-garde artist statement, and now it's a fashion trend.
You know, but everybody would have their own, like, style of paper bags. You know, some would be, like, white with silver trim. Some would be, like, nice blue, you know, with, like, rhinestones.
Some would be just, like, handcrafted and...
One would be just a normal brown paper bag with, like, crayon drawn on it.
You know, for kids. Oh man, I'm having too much fun with this. Feel free to comment below. If you had a designer paper bag, what would you have on it?
They're supposed to be paper, but now people are fading even into, like, silks.
And cotton and tulle. So that way you could go into a formal occasion and look glam.
With a paper bag on your head.
It's not paper. It's paper mache. I'm thinking too much into this, but it's too much fun. It's too much fun. Oh man, that's just brilliant. Woo! His voice fades as he spots a nearby stall. Fabrics are draped across the makeshift shelves and tacked onto boards. Scarves are included in the assortment. And now I'm thinking of that scene from In the Heights where, like, I forget the character's name, but, like, when she's running through the streets and there's, like, fabric raining down the buildings.
Look at that! How convenient.
The last time I arrived early at the margin for a meeting with Cinna, he was not there. He was partaking in one of his silly hobbies. 5 coins, it's 5 coins is probably bug catching.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, I knew he collected something, but I couldn't remember right away.
I suppose it would not hurt to keep him waiting. We could spare a few minutes.
Onwards then!
To the fashion store!
Scarves await!
Yes! Fashion trends ahoy! We have just arrived at the stall when I pause, noticing 2 ladies standing not too far away. I can tell by the looks they throw in our direction that they are speaking about us. I move closer to the edge of the stall while Chevalier holds up a few scarves. He and the stall owner do not even notice me. Don't understand what she could have seen in him. I must took pity on him. The Ice Princess taking pity on some poor doctor? The two women giggle. Not only is he much older than her, but he's not even handsome, is he? And not very competent, last I heard. If I were him, I'd be ashamed to be seen as the princess's consort.
Is that?
Oh my god! The thing more dangerous than a lethal lightning spell. The rumor mill. I startle when Chevalier puts a hand on my shoulder.
Is something wrong?
His eyes flicker briefly to the women. He is smiling, but it is a half-hearted smile. He squeezes my shoulder.
Don't worry about that, Lisette.
He's probably aware of it too. Oh my god. I could still hear the ladies tittering behind me. They're being extraordinarily rude. You know? I think she's the type that she would like, you know what? I'm not leaving this. Like, I feel like she's not the, because I know, like, with Lucette, I think if I remember correctly with Lucette, with, like, Chevalier's route, she is super blunt everywhere that she goes. So probably the first one, she probably would have woken him up, actually. But then, I think this one especially, she would not keep her mouth shut about it. Like, I know her. I know this one, I think. So I think she would confront them. Because she was much bolder in this one, I remember. Because especially with, like, the way the ending went down. Yeah, I think she'll confront him. Let's see what happens. I slide away from Chevalier and make my way toward the women.
Set.
Oh boy. Round 1. Fight! Chevalier is far more tolerant than I will ever be. The women cease their chatter as I approach, swerving around to curtsy. Good morning, Your Highness. The second woman echoes the greeting. Tell me, is it still a good morning when you hear someone insulting you behind your back? They exchange a mortified glance. We humbly apologize, Your Highness. If you meant your apology, you would not have spoken so brazenly in the first place. They continue to sputter the same apology, looking away irritated. I do not want to hear such demeaning words about my companion again. Understood? Clearly, Your Highness. Both women curtsy before rushing off. I mean, there are a few occasions where you have to speak your mind.
And you.
Oh snap! I think we got disconnected. Hold on.
Did we?
Oh, okay. Like you got cut like for like a split second. What was he said earlier, though?
I was just saying, like, yeah, you walk off.
Yeah. You better run!
You said.
Chevalier steps in front of me.
Are you okay?
No, my dear, I am not. Why wouldn't I be?
You don't need to fight my battles for me.
Understandable. But you're not fighting your own battles either, man.
Also, it wasn't entirely your battle she was fighting. She was also standing up for herself in this matter.
Exactly. Because, I mean, Ice Princess was thrown around as an insult once upon a time. Come to think of it, I kind of wish she didn't get, like, the Snow Queen curse. She's actually pretty lucky it wasn't the Snow Queen curse. Oh my gosh. I am overthinking this. He's gone out of his way for me many times. Is it so wrong for me to do the same? I doubt Father would stand idle if he heard someone criticizing Ophelia in front of him. Some people need to be reprimanded. She's not wrong! I can tell we're at an impasse. Nothing I say will convince him. Let's forget about it for now, Chev. Now's to head to the marching now. We can always return later. Chevalier nods his assent before following after me. I notice his gaze is far away, almost melancholy. I hope he is not doubting himself. But the expression slides off his face as quickly as it appears. So suddenly, I wonder if it was there in the first place. Oh boy. Whew. Oh, did you just read this part? Because I did not hear you.
Yeah. I was like, did I get enough? Yeah. We have arrived.
Woo! Chevalier strolls into the marching with his usual enthusiasm.
Good morning, Lady Delora, Waltz the Big.
I love that. Delora and Waltz, who were in the middle of a conversation, turned to face us. Well, well, well. Look at what the cat dragged in. Waltz sighs.
Good morning, you two.
Chevalier has called him Waltz the Big so many times he no longer bothers reacting to it. Let me guess, Lucette. You're here to speak with Cinna and Chevalier? You're here for her niece.
On point as always. Do you know where I might find her?
Waltz gestures to the thumb at the reception room. Apparently a niece has been in there for the last few hours sorting through papers. You sure stuck her with a lot of work, Chevalier.
Have I? I've been trying to alleviate some of the stress by doing most of the paperwork myself, but...
I jest!
Lady Delora.
You. A voice comes from the reception room doorway. Oh! Whoops! Yeah, that should have been obvious. The voice belongs to an irritated boy I have met only a handful of times since he arrived in NGL. Cinna, Parfay's cousin, a newly dubbed Lucis Bearer. And so it starts.
Could you be any louder, old man?
Chevalier is completely unfazed. He grins brightly as Cinna enters the room.
Oh, what an honor it is to see you again, tiny lord. No rebuttals today, Cinnamon?
Round 2. Fight!
You're unbearable. Ah, so you are in the mood for banter. I'm more in the mood to smash a plate over your head.
Ooh! Okay! So we got some plate smashing in the works. I will Chevalier top this one.
Such violence!
Oh boy, he is cringing back! Will Cinna do attack number 2? And he diverts! Chevalier turns to look at me with a glimmering smile.
What say you, Lucette?
How will her highness counteract this little bit of snipping dialogue? What?
Don't you have anything to contribute to the conversation?
And now the player has a tough decision. Do we go for the teasing, or we break it up and get down to business to defeat the Huns?
I feel like teasing Cinna wouldn't accomplish anything. You need to be able to work with him. And, yeah.
Fair.
Young as he is the new Lucis Bearer, and he probably feels like he doesn't get enough respect as he should. You know, as it is. So.
So you're saying we break it up then?
Yeah, I'm for breaking up the conversation.
All right, we're shutting it down. Chevalier, do not patronize him. And Cinna, you know Chevalier's heart is made of glass. He'll break it if you insult him too much. Chevalier releases a dramatic sigh. And it is over!
I'm afraid my princess speaks the truth.
Woo! And the victory goes to Her Royal Highness. How will the next round pan out? We shall see.
Tune in next week.
Dolores snorts and quirks an eyebrow. Does she now?
You two really have a strange relationship, don't you? Strange? I think the word you're searching for is honest.
Right. As always, these comments do not face Chevalier, but my eyes fall on Cinna, who is smirking. I can tell from the look on Chevalier's face that he meant for this to happen.
You're a soft heart for sure. I'll take that as a compliment.
Nothing wrong with having a good bedside manner.
Think of it what you will, old man.
Oh. Manner, cinnamon. Cinna cocks an eyebrow at Delora. As always, he looks unimpressed. He turns to face me.
I'm assuming you came to see me.
That is correct.
And the old man?
I don't think he's that much older, if I remember correctly.
I'm here to see your niece. Since you two have a meeting, I'll go ahead and excuse myself.
He leans forward to plant a kiss on my forehead.
I'll be in the other room if you need me, my sweet Lucette.
He shows himself out of the room with a genteel bow.
So, what do you need from me, Princess Lucette?
I get straight to the point, describing my nightmares and my hypothesis that the crystal are more imbalanced. Cinna scoffs and crosses his arms.
With all due respect, Your Highness, your nightmares don't prove anything. What evidence is there that your nightmares are being caused by an imbalance in the crystalline?
Well, I mean, I guess in this ending, she doesn't have as much knowledge about the crystalline as compared to all the other ones. But then there's also the fact that, for one, it spikes the moment he showed up. And then for another, well, at one point there were two bearers, actually. Her mom healed her, and Lucette herself, because she was coming of age when this was happening. Well, she came of age, I think, by the time this happened. So, there's a balance in that sense, the fact that at one point there were two bearers. And then, well, the vivid nature of it. Although granted, unlike the other nightmares that we often have seen described in this, I guess I would call it maybe a DLC so far, it seems of a very personal nature, especially the way this turned out, with again, at one point having two bearers instead of just the one. So there's that. It's a pretty good amount of evidence. That's all I'm saying. And again, that's just a theory.
A game. Anyway.
It really is a game theory. I mean, it's a visual novel, but yep.
If anything, shouldn't you be more critical of yourself?
Them's fighting words, man. Ooh. Excuse me? Cinnamon.
It could be that the weight of the crystallum is overwhelming you, perhaps. Or maybe...
You're a failure as a witch. Oh, God! Oh, Cinna! I'm so wrapped up in my thoughts that I missed the rest of Cinna's words. Delora sighs. What Lucette said might be valid, actually. You've just started taking over Parfait's responsibilities, Cinna. The balance is already skewed before you arrived. It'll take a while to restore it to the way it was before the war.
I'm doing my job just fine, thanks.
Your arrogance isn't helping, Cinna. Waltz looks between Cinna and Delora, eyebrows scrunched.
Is there any way to measure the balance?
That is a good question. Wow, isn't productive. Usually the imbalance reveals itself physically, but...
So far as I can see, there are no disturbances in NGL.
So that means all the imbalances are basically internal, is what they're implying. Because all the other ones that we've seen in balance, it's been externally displayed, and this time, there's nothing going on. Oh, man! It's gonna be all about self-confidence, isn't it? Because we got Chevalier, who, for those who are in the know, at least in the Cinderella Phenomenon original universe, well, a lot of it was that, Chevalier just had to be very self-effacing. He was selfless, but he was selfless to the point where he often didn't really look after himself. And it got to the point where he lost his original practice and even his fiancée. He gave up so much of himself that he didn't really have much of himself to claim. Thus, the Rumpelstiltskin Curse. And Lucette, likewise, is having... I think the main thing we're going to be going through here is her own self-esteem here, because now she's kind of fighting her own Ice Princess reputation on top of her mother's, basically being a tyrant with the fairy tale curse. So there's a lot that she's going through. Because she basically renewed her personality from scratch, essentially, the moment that she got Cinderella Curse. So, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, so maybe she's a little unbalanced herself, which, is bleeding into the crystals or whatever.
Yeah, and I think her bearing the crystal at the same time as Hildur certainly doesn't help things, because, she almost lost her power as a result of that, actually. And, well... It's not entirely related per se, but in one, in the bad end for Waltz, she even could get mind wiped to make sure that she does not defy Hildur at all. So Hildur maintains full control. So, yeah, it's a lot. That's all we're saying. It's a lot. Right here. What would those disturbances even look like on Cinna's side? That's another question. How? Because, Lucette could literally feel the disturbances, but how would the Lucis detect it, considering that they're the positivity side?
I'll keep my eyes open for anything that feels off.
Likewise. Let's hold off on forming any conclusions until we know more about the situation. Let us know if the problem persists, Princess. Fine. It feels as if everyone lets out a collective sigh of relief when I let the subject drop. So this means it's probably popped up several times over the last 2 years. But I can't just be imagining all of this, right? Our conversation turns to more practical things after that. Waltz and Delora bring me up to speed with recent events. 2 years ago, the tavern was open to the public. As far as I'm aware, Waltz uses this space to teach young witches magic. Delora also uses the tavern as a base of operations for the Angiel witches. Anise, who was working here until recently, is soon to be leaving. Waltz is just telling me about her plans for the future when the reception door opens and Chevalier enters with Anise in tow.
Talking about Denise and brought her immediately.
What wonderful timing, Chevalier! Anise looks particularly small standing in Chevalier's shadow. Her smile is soft, shy. For the passing years have given her greater confidence, she is still remarkably unchanged from the Anise I met years ago. She is still kind-hearted and a good listener, and still very good with herbs and food. Hello, Anise. Good afternoon, Your Highness.
We were just talking about you, Anise, as Chevalier seemed to hear. Are you sure you weren't eavesdropping?
They probably were.
Of course not. I just have very good ears.
Oh, you probably were eavesdropping. I waste no time in asking Anise about the details of the move. It was Chevalier who proposed the idea. He insisted that Anise, who had always dreamed of working full-time as an herbalist, could make her dream come true if she had the space to sell her herbs and ointments. Chevalier offered her his old clinic space last month. They have been working on the documentation this month. And as it turns out, we just finished the last of the paperwork.
And there you have it. Soon Lady Anise will be the wonderful new owner of the clinic down the street.
Women-owned business! Woo!
She'll become a renowned herbalist and transform the place into a miraculous and humble sanctuary for all those in need.
Sanctuary!
I have no doubt she will be loved by all of her patrons.
And yes, she will.
I mean, just look at her. How can you not love her?
Look at her face! She's so sweet! I don't think I'll be anywhere near as renowned as you are, Chevalier. The two laugh and smile, but I know the way Chevalier's smile slips as he looks at Anise. It's only for a few moments, but he looks sad. Well, I mean, he's used to working in, like, the country and not as, like, very posh circumstances as a palace. So, kind of makes sense. Like, he's like a man of the people kind of thing. There have been so many changes this last month. Senna moving into the tavern, my recent nightmares, an increase in my palace duties, Chevalier giving up the clinic to Anise. Chevalier has only recently taken up my father's offer to become a palace's official physician, and yet, it seems wrong somehow. Why do I think I've been watching too many episodes of The Crown in one weekend, but, like, I keep thinking about, like, in particular, a lot of, like, I think it's, like, the two marriages that Princess Margaret had, where Emily tended to be with commoners, and it's, like, the moment that they became, like, in the royal family, they basically lost any semblance of identity that they had outside of being in a royal marriage. Because they basically had to give that all up in order to fit in. And it's kind of similar here, where he's giving up his... Well, I mean, he's not giving up his livelihood per se, but it's switching to a different atmosphere that it's not... It may not be conducive to what he's used to doing, if that makes any sense. I mean, granted...
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, giving up your passion for just, like, a better job.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, granted there is an adjustment period, but on the other hand, this is more than a career adjustment. This is like a career identity. Like, almost dissolving a part of yourself, essentially.
I mean, he ran that clinic for how many years, and now he, you know, is handing it off.
Yeah, and it's going from, like, a man of the people to now basically moving up, but, like, not in a started from the bottom, now we're here kind of thing, and more like a rocket? I'm running out of metaphors, but I hope you all get what I'm saying.
He worked to the top.
Yep, he worked his way to the top.
Is that?
Chevalier takes my hand and rubs a thumb across my palm. My heart eases when he flashes me a bright smile. I push away my anxiety and turn back to the conversation. No, I must be imagining things. Everything is fine. Don't deny yourself, Lucette! You need evidence! You need evidence! Oh my god. Right? Oh god. Chapter 2. The Middleman. You will fail, dearest heart, because you do not know what it means to be a witch. We feed off negativity and chaos. Love serves no power. You will see that in time. Must you haunt me even in the day, Mother? I stifle a groan. Every time I close my eyes, I see Mother smirking at me. I pull my hand away from my face and survey the councilmen gathered around the table. All of them are focused on Father. Hey, yeah, Garland's alive here! Yay! Except for Jerry. It's like, I know, it's such a small thing, but it's like, one of them has died, or both of them are dead, and then it's like, seeing them both on screen, it's like a relief. It's been that long!
It's good when people are alive. We prefer it that way.
We prefer it that way. I am looking forward to Rod's ending because I don't have to think about this too much. Because Parfai's still alive. Like, basically everybody's still alive. And that was ironically, like, the hardest one I had to do because... I mean, the only one you could practically lose was Rod, and... I had that wrong ending so many times. Because I basically had no idea what Lucette was all about back then. But now I do. So, I'm starting to get it. Anyway. Except for Jurian and Garland. Thank God they're alive. Or look at me worriedly. I turn away with a grimace. I cannot let on that I'm barely able to keep my eyes open. I hardly slept last night. If Chevalier hadn't left for the marching before I woke up, he would have noticed something was amiss. I turned to my father, who has been discussing the possibility of increased taxes for over an hour.
I'm aware the increase could benefit palace personnel. I will not raise them unless absolutely necessary.
One councilman raises his hand and voices discontent. He insists that the increase in taxes would help the knights. Jurian scowls. Rest assured, His Majesty amply compensates us for our duty. The councilman looks disgruntled by Jurian's rebuttal. Clearly, he was not expecting the commander of the Order of Caldera to argue against increased funding. The conversation makes its way around the table until it is my turn to speak. I'm not afraid to voice my agreement with my father. Before, I would not have cared about the consequences of raising taxes, but now, after getting to know Angel's citizens, I understand the ramifications of our actions. Which is way more than most of the nobles of history have been, honestly.
Or current quote-unquote nobles, I guess.
Yep.
Figures in authority certainly feel like they like to act like nobles.
Yep. But of course, she also goes through the struggle that every young person has to go through, unfortunately. But it is as if no one hears my opinion. The counselors do not respond to me at all, instead continuing the conversation as if they had not heard me. It is not unsimilar to a group of adults ignoring a child's commentary. My irritation builds as the counselors continue to speak of their so-called benefits. Until I pound a fist on the table. Are you done? Because while you all clearly have your wallets in mind, I'm thinking of the kingdom. A tense silence fills the throne room. My father's surprise is fleeting. He quickly takes charge of the conversation again. I clasp my hands in my lap and flinch while the electricity snakes through my fingers. I clench down the magic, trying to quell my panic. I am in control. Luckily, the electricity fades as the meeting comes to a close. Still, I do not miss the nervous looks of the councilmen throw over their shoulders as they exit the room. But then again, you said yourself, Lucette. Some people do need to be reprimanded. After they leave, only my father and the two knights remain. Your Highness, are you okay? I'm fine. The words come out sharper than I intended. Why am I so mad? I ball my hands into fists and try again. I am fine.
Eyes look glassy.
And if your dad's saying something and know it's bad, they're not.
She's about to just pass out on the carpet, and she's like, "I'm fine. Don't worry about me."
Snooze. on the red carpet floor. They're not. This is how I felt when I was first learning to control the Tenebrarum. If I don't manage it properly, the negative emotions stored in it can influence my mood. I eye the electricity sparking my fingertips and sigh. I apologize. I did not intend for that outburst to happen. I promise I'm fine. Garland offers a hesitant smile.
If there's ever anything we can do to help, please don't hesitate to call on us, Princess. We may not be advisors, but we'll serve however we can.
Jurian nods. I personally think you've been overworking yourself. No, I just have not been able to sleep. There have been certain extenuating circumstances involving the Tenebrarum. My eyes flit to my father. I wonder vaguely if he's thinking about my mother's loss of control when he looks at me. I have been working with the witches to resolve this problem, so there is no need for concern.
I have faith in you, Lucette. I always will. But nonetheless, I echo Jurian and Garland's offer. I hope you'll not hesitate to speak with me if you need the help.
I offer a tired, grateful smile. Thank you, Father. Though we are still in the process of mending our relationship after years of silence, I appreciate that he is actively taking steps to make things right between us. I rise from my seat. If I may be excused, I have an errand to run. After leaving the throne room, I steer myself in the direction of the march-in. My tiredness does not excuse me from my obligations. Right now, I have a responsibility to check with Miss Delora. Hello? The tavern is eerily silent when I enter. typically is packed with customers this hour, with my niece calling orders behind the bar. Today, however, the closed sign is displayed outside the Marching Tavern's door. They must all be busy. Hello? No one responds to my call. Whew, excuse me. At least not at first. I know that sound!
Okay.
It's Mr. Broom! Then I hear the unmistakable sound of sweeping coming from the corridor. Oh no. I back away Broom's sudden appearance. Mr. Broom is unfazed. It hops out to greet me with an enviable energy. I hope you do not plan on trying to make me sweep today. You know you do not need my assistance anymore. The Broom's only response is to hop toward me again. I groan at its exuberance. Ugh. Is anyone else here? I know the Broom can understand me, and it does not give me any sign of having heard me. It continues to hop toward me. No! I am not sweeping the floors! I purposely towards Laura's charm so that the Broom could sweep on its own, yet it still harasses me. There's hardly a speck of dust in here! I falter when I notice the dusty footprints by the doorway. Were my shoes really that dirty? I mean, I often don't recognize my shoes are like really in a really serious condition until like I get back home. It's like, oh, that's going on. The Broom is restless. It seems to quiver with anticipation. So, what, oh what, will Mr. Broom do? Find out next week when we go through Chapter 2. Hey, that rhymes! But yeah, oh my gosh, this is a fun one. I mean, I know we haven't really done like too in-depth Chevalier stuff yet, but we are just starting. There's a lot going on, so we're gonna have some pretty interesting stuff coming up. But yeah, again, feel free to put down your paper bag designs and your story predictions down below. But in the meantime, well, yeah, I feel a lot better. So thanks a lot for all the well wishes that I've been having these past few days. So Monday, I think we're still doing Barony.
Yes, that should be going on.
Excellent. Yep. So we're Barony on Monday. Then I'm gonna go through Parasite Eve Part 14 since I didn't do it last week, and then we shall do Chevalier's Route Chapter 2, getting into Chapter 3 next Saturday. Got two we got two codes going on my Fiverr shop on waxgibbouswitch. We've got Blackout for supplemental archetype and Letha for a free clarification reading, which is good until Llamas or Lunasa, which is around August 7th, 8th-ish, if I remember correctly. And, of course, support your local businesses. SportsE.com, they have t-shirts supporting $10 going towards the business, and the rest going towards charities. And I am hoping to attend the Star Trek Las Vegas convention in 2021, but we shall see about that. And until then, just please check out my socials. Got TikTok, which I'm starting to update again, as well as Twitch and YouTube. I also have a YouTube channel, which I'm working on a video for that. My second YouTube channel, Theological Otaku. And Twitter, if you want to see any alerts. My blog. And, of course, I mentioned earlier, my Fiverr page. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. This is a pretty fun one. I am looking forward to see the story of Chevalier and, well, Mr. Broom.
Mr. Broom, best character.
Yes.
You know. Why don't we get Mr. Broom's, story route?
Right? Like, what about, yeah, like just a crack visual novel about Mr. Broom and all his interactions in the March-In ever since the set came along. It's like, hey, I've got a purpose. I've got to help Lucette be a good person and save the world from dust before midnight. I can see it now.
I used to be a broom, like any other. Lonely, sitting in a corner. But
then, Lady Delora cast a spell on me that I can move, and then added a bow on top of me to make me pretty, and I became Mr. Broom. Warrior of Dust. Oh! Anyway, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. And until next time, may your heart be your guiding key. And if you have to use a mask for household tasks, don't be ashamed of doing so, because we've got plenty of them where they came from. Bye.
Bye-bye.